Hey guys, Aaron here. Just got back from Vapor Honing Technologies, picked up a vapor honing machine. Super excited about that. While I was up there, I filmed a video with Ryan showing you a little bit about the company and some of their product lineup. In case you guys are interested in ordering one of these too, if you are, check out the link below in the description. I have an affiliate link where you can order from me and get one of these awesome things. They do come with a lifetime warranty, and most impressively, they have a buyback program. So if you buy a smaller model, later on decide you want a larger model, you can get 100% of the value that you paid, send it back to them, upgrade to the bigger one, just pay the difference. How fantastic is that? So hope you guys enjoy. I'll have a follow-up video showing you the setup of mine and the use of it.
Everyone, I'm Ryan here with Vapor Honing Technologies, and today we have Aaron here from Help Me DIY. He's coming to pick up his brand new Weekend Warrior. He's got a lot of excellent projects that he's ready to throw this thing directly at. And so we just wanted to let him kind of introduce himself, his channel, and what you guys can expect from him if you go check him out.
Yeah, thanks. I'm Aaron. Yeah, as you said, I run Help Me DIY. It is pretty much an automotive DIY YouTube channel. So anything that I work on myself, any of my personal projects, I film as I do it just to try to help out the community and spread some knowledge and mostly learn myself. And some of my friends also, they come over sometimes and I'll help them do some stuff. So I'm sure that all of my friends are highly anticipating this piece of equipment coming to my garage. They're all lined up already, coming up with things that they can vapor hone. So yeah, excited to learn about this product and get one into the garage. Right now I am doing an engine rebuild, so particularly good timing to clean up some pieces of that. So looking forward to getting one of these and learning how to use it.
Absolutely, and I noticed on your channel you're doing a lot of Porsche stuff. Is that kind of like your niche currently? Or?
Yeah, I started with BMWs and then I kind of bought a Boxster several years ago, and that really started the channel growing faster. So now I just bought a Cayenne this past weekend that my channel doesn't even know about, but surprise. So that will be coming to the channel as well.
Very cool. So a lot of casings, engine component stuff for vapor honing machine to tackle.
Unfortunately, bore scoring in the Cayman, that's my track car, so a complete rebuild on that. So lots of components to clean, and I'm sure I'll find a million things to use this thing for.
Absolutely. So again, if you guys are interested in engine rebuilds, just learning how to do things yourself, especially when it comes to cars, go check Aaron's channel out. Again, it's Help Me DIY. He's got a lot of stuff, a lot of good information for you guys to go check out. We could try this if you want.
Yeah, so it'd be good for me and my viewers to just kind of start off as a high level, like you don't know anything about it kind of thing, because I don't know anything about it other than
so basically,
to
explain what this thing does, it's pretty much like a sandblaster. Yeah. So if you understand the concept of a sandblaster, you understand what this does. The only difference is, we're introducing water, and that's actually lowering the impact velocity of the abrasive as it's hitting the surface. So that water's, as it's hitting your part, it's actually cushioning the abrasive as it's hitting it. That's why the finishes are so much brighter. It's not as abrasive on the actual part. So what happens is you've got your slurry down here, which that's your water and abrasive mixture. It's churned up. It's a specific mixture. That's what, like, we have an agitation system that does all that, handles all that for you.
The abrasive is typically glass beads. Is that what you usually use?
Yeah, especially if you're trying to polish your parts up. Now, if you're doing something like coating removal or coating prep, we recommend like an aluminum oxide. It just does a better job of actually stripping the part. Because like a glass bead, like kind of with the name, it's spherical, so it rolls across the surface. Whereas an aluminum oxide, it's very angular. It kind of looks like a triangle, or like little
chips
little
away
rocks.
better.
Exactly. Gotcha. And so when it hits your surface, it's just peeling that stuff off.
Okay.
That's your big difference there. But yeah, if you're trying to make your parts look good, glass bead's definitely the way to go.
Gotcha.
It's just pumped up to your blast gun right here. If I get my hand in the glove. There we go. So your bottom hose here is your slurry.
Okay.
So that's your water and abrasive mixture, and the top's the compressed air, and that's what does your work.
Gotcha.
So that's the very basic definition of how these things operate.
And which machine is this one here?
So this is the VH800 HD. Okay. This was kind of our industrial answer, because a lot of people wanted a machine that just doesn't have to stop, which is what this is. So it's got a custom built in-house pump. It really, again, doesn't know what downtime is. The best thing about this one is the way that the pump works, it actually does a better job of sucking up media. So you get a better, like more constant media flow that you really can't achieve with the normal standard pumps, but you pay for it. It's one of those things where it's like, you pay for what you get, but this is a very good industrial offering. And that's not to say that you can't get good results with like your Weekend Warrior. That's one thing we like to brag about. Even if you start with the micro, you're going to be able to get the same results that you can with this thing.
Okay.
It's just speed, efficiency, all those little bells and whistle things.
Yeah, size, uptime.
Right.
All that stuff.
And I would say with yours, so one of the cool things about the Weekend Warrior is it does have the window rinse, which for visibility, that's super nice because you know, as you're blasting, it's going to be intermittently spraying that window, making sure you can actually see your parts.
I just don't have the rear wiper blade.
Correct. Yeah. And that's the Weekend Warrior doesn't have a power supply. That's one of the ways that we kind of keep it as cost effective as we can.
Okay.
So we can go ahead and test one of these out. Let's see.
All right, so that's just setting the air pressure?
It is.
There.
And so that's static pressure. That means it's what it's sitting at before you hit the blast gun.
Okay.
So, or blast pedal.
Yep.
When we start, so you can see we're sitting at about 100. We're probably going to drop to around 90. So you can see it drop, and then when we let off, it'll jump back.
Okay.
So that's kind of what happens. So that's the difference between static and working PSI. What was that?
I said, come on in and see the
Oh,
fun
yeah.
stuff in here.
I'll let you go ahead and take over.
Uh-oh.
It's super simple.
All right.
You literally, so I will tell you with this one, it's going to be different than your machine.
Okay.
When you step on the foot pedal, this is a
Yeah.
latching foot pedal, so you can actually take your foot off and it'll still keep going. Whereas on yours, you'll have to hold it.
Okay. Like that?
Yeah, and then you can either hold the part because sometimes it'll push them around.
Okay. I assume you can blast into your hand and
Yeah, it won't hurt.
nothing hurts you and stuff. All right.
These rubber gloves are actually really good.
So this is what we're going to blast. All right. Oh, gosh. All right. First time. Here we go. Wow.
So it's pretty immediate.
It is instant. All right, so that side was kind of done a little bit, it looks like. This is the dirty side. All right, so you can get right in the... Wow, that is cool. All right, so how do you do the washy thing?
So there's another hose in there. It should
Yeah.
have a yellow handle. I think it's to your right.
Yeah. Ah,
That's
just like a
pulling
little
from
garden
the-
hose.
Exactly. That pulls from the back.
There you go. So mine will have a hose like that
It
in
will.
there? Okay.
Absolutely.
I assumed it was that thing up there.
And crushed glass is actually what's left in here.
Oh, wow.
So you can see just how like
Yeah.
sharp it really is.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, we finished it with glass bead. So you can tell the difference between like the way the surface is actually smooth and how bright it is.
Yes.
And again, that's just different medias having different characteristics,
Sure.
smoothing versus cutting.
Okay.
Because a lot of people they have the misconception that the air is what does all the work. Because you think, oh, you increase the pressure, you're hitting the part harder, it should work better. But if you don't have the cutting edge, you actually can't strip apart. So
Makes
that's
sense,
why like glass bead, we have people call in and say, hey, my machine's not working. And it just turns out they're using the wrong media.
Okay.
So yeah, media choice is really big, but I know with a lot of your engine components, you're not gonna really be removing any like paint or anything. You're just trying to polish them up. Glass bead's an excellent choice. I will tell you with a machine, if you have very dirty parts, like greasy,
Yeah.
I would suggest pre-cleaning them. And the only reason I say that is since you have a closed loop system, you're recycling that water.
Right.
And so it just kind of gets in there and it'll degrade the finish over time.
Yeah.
So the cleaner your part is going in, the longer that water lasts.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be one of my questions because I do have a parts washer at home and I was wondering if I could replace that with this, but no. I
You,
need to
you can.
get the oil off of it first.
Right, and
ideally.
it doesn't have to be like pristine
Sure,
when you put it in, but just for instance, like this part we put in as an example one time, it was, you can kind of still see it on this side, just absolutely caked up with oil
Oh, yeah.
and grease, and it kind of stains the machine, for being honest.
Gotcha, yeah.
But yeah, pre-clean it before you put it in. You should be fine. As far as abrasive goes, for kind of judging how long it is, typically with our customers, if they're blasting 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for an entire month, that's when they need to replace it. So you can kind of guesstimate like what you'll be using it and figure out how
so
far
they
out
go a
you'll
month
be. Exactly.
Okay.
Every day, 8 hours a
mine
day.
will never need to be replaced.
Pretty much. Yeah. We get people, see the thing is the water's what's going to go bad first, especially if you're using like greasier parts. But then we have some companies like medical companies where their components are already very clean.
Right.
They're just trying to treat the surface. They never have to replace the stuff because it's like it never really wears out.
Okay. One of my other questions was what kind of materials can you clean with it, like rubbers and plastics and stuff like that? What
Absolutely.
Is there anything you should not clean with it? I guess maybe is that the easier question?
Yeah, glass. It will etch glass.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Thinner plastics. So we tried to do 3D printed part smoothing, and depending on the actual like type of print, it sometimes will actually separate the print. But like if you're doing any resin printing, it doesn't harm it.
Okay.
So like any of your steels, brass, copper, rubber, like you said, normal plastics, all of it's fine. Painter's tape, put it over it, and the machine won't eat through the painter's tape, especially in glass bead. So if you want to, duct tape does work better, but it leaves a residue.
Right.
You just have to be cautious of like removing the painter's tape, because if it gets up under it, then it takes it off. But no, to answer your question, it's pretty much safe on all your components.
That's really cool. All right, so do you want to talk about some of the different types of machines that you guys have here?
Sure. Probably should start here.
Okay, yeah, start small and go.
So the reason this machine was created is because there's kind of a barrier to entry, whenever you're like selling more industrial style stuff.
Sure. Yep.
So this was kind of our offering for people who were balling on a budget.
And what's this one called?
This is the Micro. This is the Micro Vapor Home. It's completely air powered, so you can pretty much put it in a truck, drive it anywhere. If you have either a gas compressor or an electric plug-in, you can operate this machine no problem. So for people who are kind of doing mobile stuff, this is the perfect solution. And a lot of actual jewelry, like investment casting places. So it's small enough they can keep it in their actual work area. They don't have to have a ton of like lines ran to it because it's all self-contained.
Cool. Yes.
That's really what it's
work
used for.
area.
Yeah, it's cramped, especially if you're starting to get into like automotive stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're just doing carburetors or like I said, like jewelry stuff, this is perfect.
Awesome.
Then the next step up, this is actually the VH800, and the reason that this was created is because shipping on our machines is a very big issue. We have to ship LTL because everything comes pre-assembled. So literally we take the hinges off, we take the stack off, and we try and keep this machine as small as possible. And the reason we do that is so it can ship through UPS.
Okay.
So when you buy one of these machines, the shipping is actually included.
Nice.
Shipped to your door, that's in the United States, of course.
Okay.
But that's just trying to provide the most cost-effective machine we can that people can get their hands on in a tan for not a lot of money. Because shipping for a weekend warrior like what you've got, depending on where you are, even up to like Ohio, it's close to $500.
Wow. Yeah.
Which you really wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, I'm 2 hours away, so I made the drive over here to Lincolnton, North Carolina. That's where we are, to check out the company here. So what is the ballpark of price range on this guy here?
So this one in the benchtop configuration, which doesn't have the closed loop, which is kind of how a lot of people buy it, it's $2,000.
Okay.
But that shipped to your door, that's included in the United States.
Okay.
It does come with a lifetime warranty, which means if you have any issues with solenoids, anything like that, we'll replace it free of charge. And it also is available for the trade-up option, which is probably the coolest thing we offer. Because like, let's say someone wants to start to test out vapor honing, they buy the Micro. If they like it, they can actually send it back. We'll give them the full credit that they paid for it towards another machine, and they can get it.
That's awesome.
So it's a great way to like, you know how it is, like you go to the store, you really want to buy this tool, but you don't have the money for it, so you settle on another one. You get home and you're like, man, I wish I would have bought the other one. But you can't return it, so we'll actually take them back. We'll give you full value for it, no matter how long it is afterwards.
That's a great plan. Yeah.
Exactly.
I like that.
And it's kind of a good thing just to offer to people because it gives them an option.
Does that mean that you have used ones that you also sell
Absolutely.
then as well? Okay, perfect. Another
So-
good way to get in, a little budget.
Exactly.
planning.
We knock, depending on the machine, it can be up into the hundreds of dollars off. And we don't ship them out unless they pass quality control as well as testing again. So like pumps are replaced, solenoids are replaced. Basically, you get a new machine just
great,
with a little
yeah.
bit of wear.
Sure, and it's got a lifetime warranty anyway. So
Exactly.
that's awesome. All right, next is my machine.
It is actually.
All right, let's
Which
see.
we don't have. I guess this is the closest.
We're out of them.
This is the closest to it
Okay.
in the showroom, but this is the VH800 Base.
Okay.
It's just a step up above your machine, and the only reason it's a step up is because it has an automatic overflow. And really what that's for is like, this machine was made for like mechanic shops. So you have a lot of people using it, and you don't want to have somebody constantly remembering to go and open the drain valve. Whereas like your hobbyist machines, really just one person's going to be
You're
using
gonna
it.
know what you're
Exactly.
doing.
So you'll remember. That's why it's again, it's just one of those like bells and whistles that are kind of added on as you step up.
Okay, so my machine has the same door then.
Yep. It'll actually look exactly the same. It just won't have this white box over here.
I can fit an engine block in there.
Oh, dude, you can fit a lot. You really can fit a lot.
That is exciting. So there's pretty much the 4 sizes.
And then, man, we got a big machine to line up. It's actually kind of confusing if you're like just starting. This is the 900, which the 900 is basically the smaller version of a 3500, which is what's over there.
Ooh.
So the reason this exists is it's narrow enough to fit through a door, but yet you can pretty much put it in a corner and operate this machine. So this is really just a space-saving machine is what it is.
Gotcha. Okay.
But a lot of people, they'll take these and put them in trucks. I can't remember the name of the NASCAR team that has one of these. That's pretty bad. But yeah, we have a NASCAR team that has one, and we made like custom sedimentation basins, and we welded them all shut. That way they can keep it in their truck. They don't have to worry about water spilling, and they use it all the time.
That's cool.
So it's been pretty successful. It was kind of like, again, it was just, we had a lot of customers calling in saying, hey, we want something that we can fit through a door that's front load and is metal. And we were like, we can do that.
Yeah, very
So
nice. All right.
this is actually the largest one. Again, the VH3500, that's the largest we have in the showroom. And it was actually, I think it was in the original lineup.
Okay.
And it was just the industrial offering. You can forklift parts in no matter what size it is. Like we've got some large components out of a screw compressor, the actual screws and the body that we can fit in there. So it's really good just for anyone who's doing larger parts.
Okay, gotcha. And what is the weight limit of stuff that I could be able to use on my weekend warrior?
I don't really know an exact answer. I have to look that up, I can't remember.
Okay.
But
I
think it's
thought I saw that
250.
there was like an additional thing you could buy to essentially brace it so you could put
I think it is.
more weight on it or something like that.
We do offer floor supports, and I think it's 500 pounds with the floor supports, but
All right, that
without it,
sounds
I'm not
familiar.
sure.
I think it was 500. Yeah. Okay, very good.
I will ask Nikki.
Okay,
She would
cool.
definitely know.
All right, let's maybe talk a little bit about what kind of air compressor you need for this, because I'm going to be shopping for an air compressor apparently.
Right. So these things do like a lot of air, just because it's what they need to have that large blast nozzle. You can get by with a 5 horsepower compressor, especially if you have a larger tank, but it will be refilling. 7.5 horsepower is what we recommend, especially if you can get an 80-gallon tank. That's a lot of CFM. To run a weekend warrior, we recommend anywhere from 20 to 30 CFM at like 90 PSI.
Okay.
So if you're anywhere in that range, you're fine. And the thing is I can speak from personal testimony here. I actually have an 800 FL at home, which will be set up exactly like your machine, right? But the air compressor that we had a leak in the line and we couldn't find it because it was under the ground. And there's nothing more annoying than when you start blasting and you just watch your gauge go down. So like definitely having a compressor that's big enough is a definite help. And also you're going to start getting more consistent results if you're keeping the same pressure.
Okay, yeah, I looked at Lowe's and Home Depot, and they don't have anything that's 20 to 30 CFM.
Gotcha. We get a lot of we recommend Quincy.
Okay.
Quincy's a very good brand. They're pricier, but you're not going to have any issues out of them. Eaton is also a good option. They're like slightly less, especially with their Polar Air, I believe it is. But we've actually talked directly to them to try and get some air compressors and whatnot. And
Okay.
Ingersoll Rand, they were pretty good, and we still kind of recommend them, but I believe they were bought by a Chinese company. Don't hold me to that. I don't
Okay.
really know.
Sure.
But yeah, Quincy, Eaton, and really, like, I don't know if you're near a Northern tool, but Northern carries a lot of compressors that are large enough to operate these.
Okay.
So-
Now, do you work with any of those companies?
Not
and
directly.
selling? Okay.
Wish we did.
You guys should do that.
But yeah, Quincy, Eaton are two very good compressors.
Okay. I'll have to go check some out and let you guys know what I come up with.
And I knew I was going to show you, this was the hosing that we bought.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So and again, I think we bought this at Northern just because it's so fast to put up.
Uh-huh.
Because we're constantly changing around layouts and whatnot, so having something we can move around and kind of splice and do whatnot.
Okay.
But you can just put your valves in line. It kind of just like compresses and holds itself together. And this is actually holding close to 200 pounds of PSI
Wow.
right now, 200 pounds of pressure. But it runs all the way through our plant, actually to the back, to the front. So it's pretty inexpensive too.
I assume you guys have several compressors, probably some screw compressors.
We've got one large compressor, and I can't remember the tank size, and then we have a storage tank.
Okay.
So it's really just one
Wow.
very large compressor, but it keeps up surprisingly.
It's impressive, yes.
Yeah, we definitely use some CFM. Between the showroom, the testing station, and then also kind of in the manufacturing in the back, it's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
Because we'll have 4 people in here blasting at the same time on some days, so.
Nice. Do we want to show any of that stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Building like 6 years ago, it looked nothing like this. This building was built in the 1800s. It was the old Daniels Mill. But
So is this a family business or?
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
John, I am related to John somehow, kind of forget.
Somehow.
I think he's my second cousin, yeah. But he started it in 2010 or 11.
Okay.
And it was more for the services side. So he was kind of like, he built his own machine out of plywood because he found out about it from a lot of guys doing like motorcycle restoration. That's what he loved to do. That's what his business was. But he couldn't afford one because Vixen was actually one of the only manufacturers over in Europe that was selling them. And for a machine like the Weekend Warrior size or anything in that nature is going to be $20,000.
Right.
And he was like, okay, I literally can't afford that.
Yeah.
So he built his own machine to start basically selling the service to people. And they were like, okay, you got to sell us this machine. Like how much does this cost? He's like, well, I've never thought about it before.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then it started metal, kind of moved into plastic just to bring the price down. And that's why we're here. It's because we try and put the customer first.
Yeah.
Try and deliver on a product that we would actually use because he had to use it back in the day.
I went online and I, looked because I always do DIY stuff, obviously.
Absolutely.
So I looked for a DIY. There's a lot of people that take sandblasting units and convert them
Yep.
into vapor honing, and I was like, yeah, that's a lot of work, and if something goes wrong, that's a lot of me figuring stuff out.
Yep.
And then I found you guys, and I was like, well, these are reasonably priced and lifetime warranty,
Right.
and no hassle of me doing all of the stuff myself. So
Exactly. And if you need any, like you said, troubleshooting help, or if you need any advice,
yeah,
like we're always here.
Right,
We'll
yeah.
always answer because, again, we're here for you guys.
Yeah.
So,
it's a very, very cool product.
but again, this is actually the assembly. So as soon as you order a machine, if it's metal, we actually have a full fabrication shop in the back that laser cuts all these, welds them in the back.
Nice.
If it's a plastic machine, we'll bring it up to the front, we'll get your stand set up, and they'll actually be built out coming down this assembly line. We do all the wiring in-house. So every box that you see on one of these machines, these guys have actually done.
So one of these is probably mine, roaming through here.
I think your machine should be in the shipping area. They just
Okay.
have to get the basin set up.
Ready to go.
But yeah, we can move a lot of machines.
Yeah.
Just trying to get the process down pat. Then we've got the testing station over here. So this is the way that we always say that everything comes fully factory tested. So these are actually sitting here waiting to be tested. So we come over, operate the machines for a little bit, and make sure they're operating and working as they should. We have a few tests that we actually run on them, and everything is signed off before you get it.
Okay.
So as soon as you unbox a machine, unless it's been damaged in shipping, which happens more often than you think, it's 100% ready to roll right out of the box. And then shipping is in the back. So everything's wrapped, boxed, weighed, and sent out the door back here.
Nice.
And actually, there's a good example. This is a 4000. This is the largest like standard machine that we offer.
Wow.
We do have.
There's a monster.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've got custom machines that do go larger. Like our robot is technically larger. But what's cool about this one is there's a track and car that sits beside it. And so you can actually roll your parts out, get them with an overhead crane or forklift outside of the machine. And everything is on a turntable. So it makes it super simple to actually blast everything once it's inside of there.
Wow.
But we're proud of this thing.
Very
There
cool.
are a lot of big companies that operate with these.
So if I had ordered earlier and given you time to prepare this thing, I could have gotten a custom Help Me DIY logo or something engraved on it somewhere.
Actually, we got a large printer over there. You know, we could ship you one probably.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Because we print our logos. We try and do everything we can in-house. I think this one right here might actually be yours.
Oh.
I'm not sure if she's pulled another one. This one was in stock. So yeah, it's again the same size cabinet. Like you said, definitely can fit an engine block in this thing.
Oh yeah.
And the good thing about it is it only uses 25 pounds of abrasive.
Uh-huh.
So for your 25 pounds of glass bead that it'll use, it's only 25 bucks.
Okay.
And so like you said, if you never have to replace it, these things are super cheap to actually
Oh, yeah.
operate once you get them up and running.
So is that glass beads down there, or is that parts?
That's glass bead.
Okay.
And the only reason I know that is because it's 170 to 325, and that's the normal mesh size that we use for glass bead.
Okay.
It's a mixture. That's your basins. So this is what will actually sit beside the machine. We just put it in
Okay.
there for shipping.
Gotcha. Yep.
That way it doesn't get lost.
So you just pull that out, set it next to the machine, and
Yep.
it's good to go.
The sedimentation basins, you're going to want them to sit below this ball valve. On
Okay.
yours, it'll actually have the handle on top where you'll
Okay.
manually drain the water off.
All right.
It overflows into the top basin.
So I leave it open all the time, so it automatically drains.
After you're done blasting, when you're blasting, you're going to want to close it. The
Okay.
reason being is if you leave it open, the abrasive that's coming up, it doesn't settle fast enough, and it'll actually come out into the basins.
Okay.
And so this is your rinse down water is what's being pulled from this bottom basin. And so if you don't close it off, it'll pour out. And then when you're rinsing the part
So
down,
you're
it'll
wanting
abrasive.
only water to come out of here. You're wanting the other stuff to
Correct.
settle.
And the way that you do that is so like, let's say you're blasting, you're going to have water coming in through your window rinse and your spray down and whatnot. So you'll want to stop when you're finished, wait about 2 to 3 minutes. We normally recommend like 3. And then you'll go and open it and drain that water off.
Okay.
And what that does is it allows the abrasive that's on the top of the water to settle back down to the bottom. And then it just pulls the water off the top.
Gotcha.
So, and that's another good thing I can actually talk about right now. So again, your top one on yours, you'll have the valve that'll actually pull that water off. This second ball valve is just for water. So if you're wanting to pull the machine out and just change the water out, pull it to wherever you want it. We actually have people who put like pillowcases on it as kind of a filter. But again, that'll just be water. And if you have like a safety clean bucket or pump that you want to put it into, you can. But let the abrasive settle, open that up, and just water will come out. And then the bottom is actually for the complete machine change out. So you can just open it, either like catch it, put it in something, put it down a drain. That's how a lot of companies do it.
Okay.
If you want to do it in place, which is what we do, we have a 55-gallon barrel that has a ball valve on it, and it's on like casters or however you want to do it. But what we'll do is we'll turn the air pressure off from the machine, pull the blast hose out, basically pump the contents of your hopper into the barrel, and you'll have to add water to it as you're doing it, so that way you don't starve the pump. But you pretty much just pump everything out of the machine into a barrel, and then you can dispose of that, drain the water off however you want to do it, depending on like your local requirements, and then just recharge the machine with water and abrasive, and you're up and running.
Okay, so let me start back from the beginning then. I have this machine.
Yep.
It's sitting here. From the beginning, how would I set this thing up?
So your power on yours is going to be coming out of the main box that's right here. So it's just normal 110.
Okay.
You'll plug it in. You'll have a regulator that you'll hook your air into on the front. Then essentially just, if you're wanting to charge the machine, because at that point you've got air and you've got water, what you have to do is
I don't have water yet.
Correct. So when you're putting water in, you'll fill it up to this ball valve.
Okay.
And you can actually leave that ball valve open. And when it starts to overflow, that's when you know you're good and full enough of water. Close that off. And
I'm just putting the water straight in
directly
the front
in the
anywhere?
Yep. Okay. So you'll literally just open the door.
Have a
and
hose
then
spray it in.
have a hose spray it in.
Awesome.
And then to actually add your abrasive, sometimes if you want to, you can lift the floor up, or you can just dump it directly on there.
Okay.
As long as that ball valve's closed, you're fine.
Okay. And how much abrasive, if I'm doing glass beads?
25 pounds.
Okay, so that whole box.
Correct.
Okay.
And like I said, it'll be shipped in that box. You just cut it, open it, and dump it directly in.
Okay, perfect.
Then as far as your basins go, to fill these up, so the bottom basin, you're going to want to fill it up to where it's about 1 inch from the top, and that's just going to give you a lot of water to actually pull from.
Okay.
And then your top basin, you're just going to want to fill it up until it starts to overflow to the bottom.
Okay. And where does it over, just from the very top of this?
Correct. So it'll overflow from the machine into this top basin.
Yep.
And then it'll actually go down into the bottom.
Into there.
Correct.
Okay.
And then this is your pump that recirculates the water, so it'll pull from that bottom basin and it pumps it back in. That's what's feeding that internal rinse and also your window rinse.
Okay.
Can't remember. Oh yeah, but you do have to hook it into your air. So before you turn your air on, you're going to want to make sure that pump's hooked in and has water.
Okay.
Because when you charge the machine, it will start pumping.
Gotcha. Very good. So that's easy. Just a couple buckets, some water, and some plastic.
Do you have water in your shop? I should have asked that.
I do.
Perfect. Yep.
Is it, I guess, if not, you would just have to carry buckets of water in, because it's not actually hooked up to a water supply, right?
Correct. Especially, so if you have an open loop machine, it would be.
Ah, okay.
But the issue with an open loop machine is that it's constantly, like every time you stop and drain it off, you have to take that water somewhere. So whether you just have a bucket sitting there that you're filling up, or if it's plumbed in, that's what it's for. But with your closed loop machine, it is self-contained and you're not having to draw from a water source.
Gotcha.
A lot of times if it's really greasy parts that someone wants to constantly recirculate in the water because it's just going to get contaminated, they'll use an open loop system.
Okay.
But the disadvantage is you lose media faster than you would with this. And a lot, like if you have a closed loop machine, a lot of companies want it because they want to actually meter that water and figure out like what kind of particles are coming out if they're doing like particle counting and whatnot. So it makes more sense for them to have a closed loop machine.
Okay. And you guys on your website, you have instructions and
we do
other videos and stuff.
We have a knowledge base page that it'll tell you everything about how to set these up, and then you can also find a lot of good information on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
But we'll send you, and actually it should be linked to your information when you purchase the machine. It should have the password for the knowledge base page.
Okay.
That you can get to on our website. And if you have any questions, give us a call. We can help you get you sorted out.
Fantastic. Cool. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Hopefully I didn't talk your ears off.
Oh, no.
I get pretty excited.
Great information. I needed to know all of that.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Hopefully your machine should be about ready.
I'm gonna need you to follow me home. Get that out. It might take a minute. Oh yeah.
Everything. This man's got everything.
Alright, so that should hold it. Sweet. Alright, so it's not, how much does this thing weigh?
I really do.
A couple 100 pounds?
Yeah. think 237 is what Joe said when he put it off the scale.
Okay.
As it sits.
Okay.
It's just sitting in it, and the reason that is because the more holes you add, the more likelihood it is it's going to leak. So it just kind of sits in that stand. So when you pick it up, make sure it is by the stand. But yeah, that should be everything. Closed loop systems inside the machine. That's actually your abrasive sitting down here.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for coming out, Aaron.
Yes. All right. See you guys.
And remember, guys, go check out this man's channel. He literally has everything.